So, ladies and gentlemen, fanboys and girls, nerds, weeds, and otaku, welcome back and welcome home.
Hello there, Apple Bites. This is your Apple Bite Written Writ Ralph talking to you straight from our show here, The Written Writ. A show where you and I and you take a journey together to become better creators. And here we are with a plethora of beautiful people hanging out with us, about to reveal all the good stuff that they are doing. You got Noah, Rob, Eva, and Eddie.
Good evening, Ralph. Good evening, everyone.
Hey. Good evening. This is great. Happy to be here.
Yes, sir.
I got to say, it is going to be a bunch of fun if the green room is any indication of where we're going.
Very good. I'm drinking water. I swear we're in good spirits.
So, you know what, Eddie, let's start with you since you've been running around all day trying to get things done.
Wow. Oh, I appreciate that, Ralph. In case I fall asleep on you, right?
I gotta get you before you fall asleep, yeah.
Well, everyone, my name's Eddie Lima. I'm the creator of End of Zed, and it's a comic book, indie comic book that I just took out today. Today was my launch day. So all these months of work. Thank you, Noah. Appreciate it, man. Boy, it's a long time to get here, and today was the day I've always thought about. You know, that's why. Ending it with Ralph, my day is certainly appropriate because I appreciate Ralph's support. Ralph's an amazing guy, and certainly, anytime that he asks me for anything, I will do because I appreciate you, Ralph. And thanks for having me on the show. So yes, End of Zed. It's a story about a robot that crash lands in the South Bronx in 1982. Right? He has no memory. He's badly damaged, and he's navigating through we'll say, a turbulent time in the city's history. It not only saw the beginnings of the crack epidemic, but it also saw the great things as, like, for example, the birth of hip hop. And that's what the story is. It's about this robot who navigates through this time. He learns a lot about himself, about his origin, but more importantly, he learns about what his purpose is. So it's getting really great reviews. People are really digging it. They dig the 80s touch to it. They dig the hip hop flair to it. And it's certainly a story that's unique on its own. So I'm getting some really great responses. And certainly everyone that pledged today is a good indication that people really dig it. So yep, we have covers here that we're going to have. The Lucas Assis cover. He was the main artist on this, and then we have a Harrow cover. He's the one that created the character. I created actually the tag because I'm actually a graffiti artist, and so I created that for the cover. And then of course rewards. People want some good rewards, so we're offering like a PDF of both versions of the cover, and then the physical copy for only 10 smackers, which isn't bad at all.
Okay, I'm going to stop you right there because right away, that's already cheap.
Yes,
yeah, absolutely.
10 smackers, right? Who doesn't have 10 smackers anymore? So yes, $10 for that. And then of course we got the bundles that everyone always offers. We have one here, which is the physical copy. You get the PDF as well as stickers because people love stickers in the indie world. For $25. Beautiful stickers. One's a hologram sticker. The other two are vinyl. And of course, I sell them in both versions. Then I sell a retail bundle set for retailers. It's a great discount, 5 copies for $35. So that's going to be great to offer that. And then the final one's the big one, the big, we call it the Ultimate Graffiti Package. So for $250, only $250, you get I could produce a tag for you that'll be featured within the comic book. So I'm gonna illustrate like a like whether it's your name or a company name, I will do a burner or a tag, and I will place it in the subway, and then you'll be immortalized for the rest of your life in the comic. And I've already had someone said they're going to come through on this, so limited to only 4 because there isn't that much real estate on my in my comic, but you'll certainly be featured prominently.
All you need is one train. What are you talking about?
Exactly.
Be careful saying real estate. I am a real estate agent.
Oh,
also.
there you go. Okay.
When I hear real estate, it's like, what?
Well, real estate within the comic. You're right. Real estate.
Yeah,
within the comic.
there you go. I like it.
Yeah, there you go. So we have
You just
things like
add a page of just one train going by,
Right.
like just
Exactly.
over and over again. It really
Right, there
fills
you
up
go.
the room.
Exactly. I can make up the whole thing just on that. I can make my whole campaign just on that. And actually, what I did was I have a graffiti site on Instagram, and it's ZNK238. And what I did there was, I built a good community of people that are taggers and fellow graffiti artists. And what we did was I had them send me their little tags that I could put it sprayed throughout the whole comic book.
Nice.
So that was a great way of getting everyone involved. I got close to 15 other writers that I put them in certain pieces and certain places of the comic, and that's working out well. It certainly brings a lot of excitement to the campaign, and they certainly want to see where their pieces lie and end up. Here goes my funding goals. In case if I were to reach over 2,000, you'll get a print of the cover art, and then you'll get as you go up, you'll get different kinds of posters and prints. And then, yes, the raising funds, what I'm raising it for, everything is done. The comic is done. It's already been illustrated. Everything's pieced together. It's just a matter of printing it and seeing what kind of audience I get from it. Can we play the movie, Rob? It's only like a minute.
Oh yeah, I was just waiting for you to finish your pitch.
Let's do it.
Really give you a flavor of what it is. So
let's rock.
Party people, are we ready? 3, 2, 1.
Woo!
Excellent.
I gotta say, man, that carries the vibe of the piece of the book, man.
Oh, I appreciate it. Yeah.
It really. I mean, it gets you hyped up, man. The music's great. I totally, from what you've described, I totally see what you got there. It's awesome.
Excellent. Thanks, Noah. Yeah.
I want to read the comic, and then I want to play the side scroller video game that you need to come out with.
Oh, there you go.
Correct. Music.
Especially as you always say, the rowboat.
Love it.
Let's get a real good Metroidvania going all over the Bronx.
Excellent. Well, the story's dear to my heart. That's the era that I grew up in. I would like to say that a lot of what I gained, a lot of the holes in my life that I had as growing up were certainly filled by the hip hop culture, like from the graffiti that gave me my artist sensibility of graffiti. Certainly the music certainly impacted me, and even the fashion. I mean, there's nothing like wearing a pair of shell top Adidas still that I still feel young. And I still feel invigorated. So there's not many things in life that can still give you that. So I appreciate that. So yes, thanks for viewing that. You notice those posters that I had at the end for the stretch goals? Well, I'm gonna have something very special for everyone here. So if anyone that donates within the class, if anyone who pledges within this time frame with Ralph, I will send you one of those for free if you order one of the comic books. But only if you put it in the chat so I can see who you are.
Exactly.
And then certainly if you buy, hey, Lupons. And certainly if you can, and if you could write it within the chat, I know that I could send you one of those posters. So I'm really stoked for this. A lot of people are. It took me a lot of time to get to this point, but I'm really excited kind of offering to this. And I appreciate your feedback, everyone. Really do. Thank you.
So you folks out there who usually don't say nothing, maybe you should say something this time.
Speak up.
It always bugs me out because I can see the numbers back here. So I know people are watching, and I'm sitting here going, okay, why aren't they saying it? It was the same thing. Like, oh, Ralph, we're just enjoying the show. I'm like, okay.
Well, that's the excuse they give you, right?
Yeah, they are so encaptured by your presence and your voice, Ralph, that they can't help but stay in awe, paralyzed with absolute joy. I totally
truly mesmerizing. I forget that I'm even in the show. I think I'm just watching it.
Well, I know that happens in the show. We lose track of time. We start geeking out. Next thing you know, it's 2 hours later. You're like, uh-oh.
Oh yeah.
Yes. But thank you, everyone. Again, thanks for your feedback. Wish me luck. This is my first one. Hopefully not my last one. And I think it's a great story. It's going to be 4 issues. If this one's successful, which I believe it will be, it really tells such a great story. I like to call it Wild Robot meets The Warriors, if you remember that movie, The Warriors. So Wild Robot meets The Warriors. So keep that in mind, and it gives you a good description of that. And me and Ralph got a good story about Wild Robot. I remember when I first found out that was coming out, I was a little worried because it's kind of a little similar to my story. So I had to call Ralph to tell him to talk me out of jumping off a bridge, and Ralph did. It's like, Eddie, listen, there's no difference because he actually saw it when it first came out. So I'm grateful for you, Ralph, for saving my life and certainly support me with this. So yes, Wild Robot meets The Warriors. There you go.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because Wild Robot does have some elements, but no, you have a whole different setting. I feel like your story is
a way cooler vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I loved Wild Robot, but no, I like what you're doing. I like what you're putting together. And I think, Eddie, your thing is that vibe, and you feel it in the project itself, and then the video just makes you actually live it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Yep.
It feels authentic, right? That's the kind of thing that not only would be easy to try to fake, but I think many have and failed. This feel like, from what you've described, and I've only just met you here, but like this is coming from you. This is coming from lived experience, from the lifestyle. It makes a big difference to add that authenticity to it.
Yeah,
sure. And a lot of people help me with that. A lot of people warn me, don't make this campy, don't make it don't make the robots start breakdancing and spraying things and start rapping or things like that. No, it had to be real serious in the sense, because I'm really trying to, it really digs deep into programming on another level. He lands badly damaged, no memory, and he only has this little robot, a little CPU unit in his head that shows him and kind of tells him in layman terms what he sees. So, for example, he sees a human, and it tells him, well, this is a human. They dominate the earth. They're the higher species, the higher level. And then he sees that exact human do a drug deal, like doing crack. The computer actually focuses on money and says, okay, this is currency. This is what these humans use for trade and goods. And then it focuses in on the crack and goes, well, this is used to bring these humans to another state. And he starts thinking about, like, wow, why would a human do that to another human? Is money really that important? So that's what a lot of it is. It's about programming, about how our programming gets filled. And it goes even to a deeper level. We can think about ourselves. How did we learn about programming, right? Our parents taught us first when we started living life about what's good, what's bad. And then, of course, the media came in, and they also had their share of telling us what's good and bad. But at the end of the day, what is it that we really believe? And that's what this robot's going to go through. He's going to have to make some decisions of, instead of taking it from other inputs, that he's going to have to be the ones that evaluates and judge what he sees. So yeah, the comic book has everything. It has a lot of action. It's got a profound statement at the end, and yes, and it's got hip hop in it, which is great. And the 80s, people love the 80s.
Beautiful.
Almost wish we can probably go back to the 80s. So.
I don't know about go back. I was there the first time.
For what you remember, right, Ralph?
And I feel like New York is going back to that, so I'm like, I don't know, man.
But thank
Pick
you.
and choose your moments.
Like, I love the feel of the 80s, but at the same time, I remember the 80s, and I'm like, dude.
Yes.
Forget about remember the 80s. I remember the 70s, which was even worse. Everybody goes, "Oh, the Warriors." I'm like, "Yeah, it was great." And once you lived it, though.
No, understood. But yes, we'll have about 35 days. I made it a Kickstarter go a little bit longer than normal because a lot of things are going on. It took me about 2 weeks just to get my Kickstarter. I lost 2 weeks of pre-launch time, and then also a lot of things are going on. Of course, the election's coming up. That kind of worries me. I don't think people will be thinking about comic books at that stage, especially for that week. So I know I'm going to lose that. And then, of course, we've got Thanksgiving coming up and things like that. So I feel as though my time is limited. So I better scramble now while I can be, while our country's still a country, so to speak. So yeah. But thank you.
Lupin says, "Sounds like many nights out I had. Crashed somewhere with no memory of how I got there."
Preach.
Love it, Lou.
I've been there. But you have this again, Eddie. You have this vibe. If you can feel it, it has that feel of that time period. It also has a feel of the passion that you have for what you're doing. I can see that you put all the stuff that you care about into the story, which is a good way to write a story because sometimes people instead of writing what they know, they write other stuff,
Right.
and it kind of gets them lost out there. And I've said it before on the show, writing what you know doesn't mean that you just write what you know. It means that you write what you've learned, you write what you've researched, you write, and I think you've done that.
Appreciate that. There's certainly a lot of me within the story, a lot of holes growing up in my life, and certainly hip hop music filled a lot of that. And like I told you before, art, seeing graffiti, my first piece I ever saw on a subway train really changed my aesthetic and my sense of design and art because I'm a graffiti artist because of it, even at such a young age. And then, like I told you before, fashion. There's nothing like wearing a pair of Adidas now. It still invigorates me and it still gives me power, I remember my mother told me once a long time ago, she goes, I knew I was getting old when I knew I couldn't wear mini skirts anymore, and it had a profound effect on me because I guess you reach a certain age and you think you can't do something. Well, I'm always going to wear Adidas and I will always feel great when I do it. So yes. Oh, and by the way, I met DMC over the weekend.
I was about to say that. I saw the picture
of
with DMC,
Run DMC, which was excellent. Oh my God. And I had a chance to show him the story, gave him a preview, actually showed him more pages of what you saw. And then he turned to me and he says, "Yeah, Eddie, what you're doing is very important. It's very important to the scene." And certainly he appreciated how mine wasn't hokey in his words. It wasn't like the robot's going to start breakdancing or anything, so that helped too. So yeah, just meeting him was just, it's like when I met you for the first time, Ralph, I was in awe and I don't need to do anything anymore, Ralph. That's it. I'm done.
I was about to ask you what he thought of it because that he's directly from that time period.
Correct.
Yeah.
He really was. He was so inspiring. And what a great way to start this run with him. And I told him that. Shook his hand, said, "I really need this because I know there's going to be a lot coming up that I'm going to need to endure. So, thank you for that." And he wrote his own comic book. I don't know if you ever saw the DMC comic book, and it is excellent. So, following in his footsteps, but certainly, hopefully, with his blessing, we'll be successful.
That's a pretty good blessing.
Yes.
It's like getting the Godfather's blessing.
Yeah. Yes, the rap father. Exactly.
There you go.
Oh man. So Rob, why don't you tell the people all the good stuff? Give them the spiel. Go for it.
Sure. I'm Rob Longo, 2121 Productions, an exquisite film director. When I say exquisite, I mean exquisitely tired and exquisitely overworked, but loving what I do regardless. Coming out with our second horror movie in our Grove horrorverse, Ghost in the Grove Part 2, The Umblatch. And our Indiegogo campaign started, and need to pay a little more attention to it because we've been finishing up the film and need to push out this Indiegogo a little bit more. So here we are.
I think I got a trailer, so let's go to the videotape, folks. Here we go. And
Welcome, one and all, to Cedar Beats Open Mic. I'm Oski, and we're welcoming our next act to the stage, none other than Wolf, everybody. Wolf!
Violet,
Hey, Charlotte. How you doing? You okay?
the police just won't leave me alone. I don't know what the fuck to do.
I know. I already spoke to them. Just don't worry about it, all right? How you holding up?
I'm in this town now more alone than ever.
Are we still on for this weekend?
Is that all you care about, Violet?
Yeah, it'll be good for the band too, but
Yeah, for the band, you mean.
you know, let's see if we can make some music again.
What the fuck, man? Fuck!
Seriously? You come, you pick up my sister, and then you play us a shitty cover song, your little shitty rendition? Are you even taking this seriously?
You talk about shit?
So that was our little teaser trailer right there that put together today just for the show.
Like 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow, that's what you call editing.
Yeah.
But the movie itself, Eva gave me a mandate 2 years ago, I think, almost 2.5 years ago. She said, no more ideas in notebooks. Now you have to make one movie every year, no matter what. So that pressure was on, and originally Ghost of the Grove, due to business issues, was going to be more of like just a paranormal activities kind of movie, very low budget, very easy to do. People like sleeping in their bed, getting pulled off, all the covers off, getting pulled off the bed or down the hallway or whatever. But the writer's block that I fought and a drawing again that Eva had done inspired me to make up our own creature for our own, folklore and mythology, the unbletched, the opposite of what a muse is. So it actually, all worked together. And I got to say, shout out to the cast and crew. They are the ones who totally made this movie even possible to do in such a short amount of time. They've been absolutely professional, amazing. They have my eternal gratitude. Otherwise, it would not be possible without them.
How was it possible even with them? Because that sounds like a short time period to get something done.
Yeah. But when you promise Eva something, keep that promise, because, Polish background, executive producer, she tells you got to make a movie every year. If you agree to it, you are bound to do it.
In real estate, yeah.
I essentially signed an agreement, much like a real estate agreement, the new law that went into effect, and I had to make it no matter what. And as I was running out of time, eventually things just fell into place, and she'll, agree with me and talk about it more about the creature design and everything. But everything just quickly fell in place to make it happen. The creature, the locations, the actors, the happy accidents. Amazing. Really amazing.
Wow.
But we have a bad luck. We have a bad luck with the husband that also wonderful people and everything, we put the puzzles together, and right now the same thing with this. We're just lucky, I think. It is just,
Yeah, I think so too, because you guys are very good at getting a good group together that works really well, and it feels more like a family than it does a production company.
Truly the same this time, exactly the same, and you kind of feel sorry that they already almost finished. We have like the 2 more scenes to do it, and that's it, and you kind of enjoy it so much that you don't want to go back.
The worst part about making horror movies is killing off good cast members. That's definitely, we regret that, and we're starting to change that a little bit. So good cast members survive at least 2 movies, hopefully.
At least.
Yeah. Rob wanna kill everybody, but
But someone's got to go. You can't keep them all.
Somebody's got to go.
I guess that's how an actor knows he's doing a good part. He never gets killed. He's like, wow, they must like me. They never killed me off. That's great.
But it's funny because there's this actress that we worked with for the husband, Sophia, and I'm a fool because I put only first names in my phone. So I had Sophia, and a fourth Sophia spelled a different way. So I texted all 4 Sophias, and I figure one of them was the right one. One of them got back to me, spells her name the same as Sophia from the husband, is a huge horror movie fan, answered my text positively that she wants to be in it.
Oh.
I looked at pictures of them both, and in the script, they're sisters. They look like sisters.
Wow.
In real life. And it was, just coincidence or kismet or luck or whatever like that, like really helped push this movie through to get it to where it is. And we're pretty proud of it already. I started editing it, even though we have a few more scenes to still shoot. And, we're really happy with it. Eva is smiling, which is the most important thing.
I'll be honest, I thought that story was going in a different direction. I thought there'd be at least one pissed off Sophia somewhere in there, but it sounds like
those other 2 probably have blocked my number.
And after that, you have a casting, and all Sophias only.
Yeah. Sophia's the 3rd film in the series.
Maybe, who knows? Yes. Next part will be Sophia.
The story about a clone monster.
Yeah, love it.
We have plenty of monsters, so definitely we can, adjust something to Sophia's.
I'm hoping this movie, resonates with artists and creatives who have faced that writer's block or that creative block and, have felt the pressure of that creature almost on them. And like that creature could be on you, but you don't see it, but you feel it, and it whispers to you and tells you, you're worthless, your stuff sucks, Wild Robot came out. Why are you copying that?
Right. Exactly.
Right? You went through that. I've gone through that myself. Anytime we see anything similar horror movie wise, we're like, they're stealing our ideas. They're listening. They're listening. Is anything I do original? But to me, it's just you're operating on this frequency, and if somebody comes out with something similar on the same frequency, it means you're on the right frequency at the right time.
Yeah, good point. What's interesting about your story, though, is right, like you have these things that are stifling creativity, but yet the project itself flourished so creatively, so quickly. So isn't that interesting? How they're both the contrast of that. How
I have my muse. That's why.
There you go. Yes,
you cannot do it differently because also he promised to our distributor that it will be ready another movie, and we were like, oh my god, time is coming and we don't have it. So it is not only me, he's lying.
Oh boy.
There is a contractual obligation that's looming over me also, motivating me positively.
True.
That's too funny. You got to get this done. Come on, let's go.
Yep.
See, that's your own horror movie right there.
That's the producer.
Exactly.
And he killed everybody. Yes?
or hangs himself.
Yeah.
I'm too much of a narcissist for that. Don't worry.
It comes in and starts going, you can't kill anybody. We got to make a sequel.
Right. We need all the Sophias. Damn it.
We have 2 Sophias. We have 2 Chantels.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So
I saw the names pop up. I was like, another Chantal. Oh man, I gotta say, like, so you guys have got this one done now. So what do you think will be the 3rd one in the chain of movies, or do you guys are you guys not sure yet?
We're not sure, but we have something in the mind because we wanted to do the song like the another dimension those movies, so you kind of have it in the same room, the similar world, but you don't see each other, but you bother each other at some point.
So can I tell them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why not?
Exclusive. Let's
So,
go.
Hey, come on.
so this February we might start shooting a Christmas horror movie
Ooh.
for next year, based with female snowboarders, because for some reason I know a lot of snowboarders who are like really like, you know, instructors, ex-professionals, ex-competitors and everything. So that's like another one that looks like it's coming together. And then financially, we would like to do Meatface next in the movie, in our, you know, 5-part series of movies.
Right.
But we only want to do it if we have the budget for it. Otherwise, it's going to be the snowboarding movie or the Vor next, but possibly, hopefully, Meatface. We'll see.
Ooh.
Like it.
One movie a year, no matter what. Maybe even 2 movies a year, because we enjoy doing
That
this so
could
much.
change,
I mean,
because
you're
we
working
change
fast
very-
enough to do it, so there you go.
Exactly. I think that's the whole point. You're moving quick enough. And if you do do the Christmas movie in February, that leaves you all the rest of the year to make another movie.
Good point. There is something about working quickly, though, that helps with the creative process, you know, and I think artists do it a lot of times to give themselves certainly a time limit. And there are things like speed dating too, right? Speed dating does that also. It makes you make quicker decisions than you normally, because it helps you to see things purely, right, and genuinely. Right. So
Yeah,
there is something about
for me, my biggest demon is the procrastination demon. But when I have a deadline, you get in that flow state of, I'm not judging what I'm writing or doing. I'm just doing it. I'm getting it done. And that helps to, you know, to be cliche, but it's true. Your creative juice flows like a child, you know, and you're not second guessing yourself. You're not looking at your, you know, second, third, fourth draft and being like, oh, this is terrible. No, you're just putting it out there. So.
When I was getting married, my buddy described this to me as his advice as a married person at the time. And he was telling me that when you're planning a wedding, you know, you could make it a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now. You're not extending the amount of time to plan the wedding. You are planning the wedding over that period of time. So no matter what, you are not going to be less busy because you have longer. You're just going to be doing it the exact same energy and level that entire time. So almost better to make it shorter because you're going to go whole hog and it's got to end anyway. Especially as creatives, I'm sure we've all in the position where it's like, it's got to be perfect. It's got to be just right. It's got to be everything. And you tweak and tweak and tweak until it becomes, you know, perfect's the enemy of the good, right? And you just tweak until it becomes a monster of its own. That's not what you ever imagined it would be.
It's exactly happened.
He was laughing because we're in a situation now with the first movie, Ghost in the Grove, the husband, where I've gotten a chance to re-edit and reshoot some stuff. And I don't think she's that happy with how much time I'm taking to tweak it.
I just wonder how you will edit right now 2 weeks and you edit like year and a half the previous movie. So I just want to know how that will happen. So it's why I laugh.
Yeah. Rob, sometimes it's better to be done.
Yeah.
You know,
surely sometimes it's like, you know, because you can make the worse. So yes, I guess you should end in some point. That's it. But we have it. He added the things, and one time I said, you know what? If you don't finish this and I don't have a product by Friday, I will delete everything. and he was like, okay.
He meant it.
Sometimes deadlines just make you work faster.
It's just what you need. The kick in the butt we're all asking for.
Exactly. Oh man. So Noah, why don't you tell the people all the good stuff? Tell them who you are. Give them the spiel. Go for it.
Oh my God, I don't even know where to begin, guys, because I do too goddamn much.
Yes, he does.
Friends and folks, I am the Boss Monster Noah Waterman. I host, among many things, the Kaiju Lounge, your home for humor, opinions, and because I was told not to swear, nerd stuff. Think of it as nerd culture's answer to late night talk shows. I do a lot. My primary series is an interview series called My Guest Tonight, where I talk to various movers, shakers in the nerd pop culture universe, game developers, comic creators, con founders. It really runs the gamut across that and do extra long interviews. I also do a podcast called The Best Game of All Time, where we rate, rank, and review every game ever made on an ever-growing list where no game could be equal. One game always has to be better than worse than any other game. On top of that, I host a monthly gaming tournament at OS NYC in the heart of New York City called the World's Greatest Gamer, where every game is decided by the mystical, magical wheel of gaming. Wherever that game lands on, that is what they have to play. Could be a indie game, could be an old school game, a new school game, racing game, fighting game, puzzle game. It does not matter. Whatever it lands on, that is what you are forced to play. The winner gets $100 as well as the title of World's Greatest Gamer. When I'm not doing my own stuff, that's right, there is more. I am the host, MC, announcer, commentator under the name of Vinny Deluxe of, and I'm going to pick this right now, Kaiju Big Battle, the only place where you can find giant monsters fighting in a ring, live combat, giant rubber suits. Who does not like that? I'm a host, I'm a producer, I'm a former team lead and senior producer for Up, Up, Down, Down, the WWE's gaming channel, comedian, host. The only thing I don't do is stop.
And we know that because well, the reason we're all tired is because we just came from New York Comic Con, and you should be more tired because you just came from Japan.
That's right. We Kaiju Big Battle right now is in the midst of their 30th anniversary, 30 years of being on the scene. And to celebrate that, we did one of our shows in Japan, Shinkiba First Ring, literally just got back 2 weeks ago, 1 week ago. It was 1 week ago, 1.5, we'll say. Amazing experience getting to announce and host a wrestling event in a Japanese ring as a longtime wrestling fan. Truly blown away by the experience. They loved us. They wish we'd come back. I hope we do too, even though that is a strain on my wallet. But yeah, no, I've just been, going from Japan to New York Comic Con. Ralph, you were talking about that before. It is a lot. Just even being in that environment is enough to cause a cold sweat in me. It's just, there's so much going on there. And then, in another, not this weekend, but next weekend, I am driving to Pittsburgh for a day for another Kaiju Big Battle show. I'm in Queens, so that's about a 6-hour drive from me. To Pittsburgh to host the next Kaiju Big Battle and come right on back home to be back the next day. So it's the life of the traveling circus performer, so to speak.
Speaking of editing, how do you get your editing done? Because I know you still do the classic interviews.
So yeah, so I mean, it honestly. It helps that I am a freelancer and work isn't busy right now, which is unfortunate, but it gives me the free time to get some of that editing done. Like, especially coming from producing and working for the WWE, that's it doesn't stop. There's no off season for that, right?
Exactly.
And the shows are all happening in the evening, so oftentimes turnarounds are fast. You got to be somewhere for a client, Bumble Hell Milwaukee one day. I'm trying so hard, man. I know hell.
Don't worry about it.
But I'm trying.
I already cursed. Already cursed.
No, so
cursed.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Middle of nowhere, Milwaukee, for a shoot, and then 2 days later, I have to turn around and edit. So I'm used to a fast at turnaround for a lot of stuff, and that's why I've been able to kind of take those skills for myself and for my clients when I do freelance work. But like, truth be told, a lot of it's just building systems, and systems it's so important. As much as I'm a creative, I've still got the other side of my brain working, and it's all like, okay, I know ahead of time I want these assets. I know that I've got templates for my various series and projects I do, so that way I'm not recreating things or hunting things down. Like, having those systems, especially as a one-man band, so to speak, makes all the difference in the world. Because I mean, even when I do the World's Greatest Gamer, I stream that live. I'm the one doing the multi-cameras as well as at the same time as I'm hosting. So I'm managing that stream. I'm swapping between cameras. I'm loading up a different game, which with over 100 games and counting, I add to this competition. It's a lot to know where everything is. So I've gotten very good at building systems, multitasking, and cocaine. But otherwise, no, I'm kidding. It's a lot, but I think I have just the right amount of ADHD to make it all happen.
Well, that's actually what I was going to ask you. How do you get the energy for all this? Even in the short video, oh my gosh, I got exhausted looking at it. Really? How do you get your energy for it? It's kind of like a serious question. Like, do you sleep well? Do you drink?
I do not sleep well at all.
Okay.
Oh God, no. I have a 17-month-old son. I definitely don't sleep well.
Okay.
Okay. Where does the energy come from? You know what? I think it's a runaway train in a lot of ways. It's not so much about having the energy to keep going. It's about having the energy to start. And part of this is the joke of just I'm a runaway boulder and I can't stop myself half the time. But the more serious version of that is the harder thing to do is actually start something. Because once you start, you've immediately put guardrails. Let's get really into it. All right. Creativity. We're all creatives here. So we all kind of see this here. Sometimes when you're staring at a blank page, it is paralyzing. It is hard to just figure out, where do I go from here, starting from scratch. The moment you draw a line, you now have to incorporate that line. You've now created guardrails. You've now limited possibilities. Mm-hmm. And while sometimes the limiting sounds like a scary thing, truthfully, once you begin and once you start to narrow things down, it kind of starts to take shape. And my energy for a lot of this, it kind of works the same way. Once I begin moving, I'm kind of letting momentum take me, because I'm, 40-year-olds with a 17-month-old son. That energy is slowly draining from me every day of my existence. I'm going to have less and less and less of it over time. Okay. But right now it's just about starting. I think I have some sort of undiagnosed ADHD or something, because there's always a new project I want to do and I want to start. And I usually give it about 2 weeks. If I still want to do it, it's going to get done.
That's pretty good, because, sometimes you probably shouldn't be jumping into that.
If I jumped into every little thing, I'd learn how to play 3 songs on the guitar before giving up. I know more words in 5 different languages, but not enough to be conversational. I'd have all these unfinished projects all over the place. I feel like I even did that with my tattoos and stuff, where it's all right, 2 years. If I still want that same tattoo after 2 years, I'll get the tattoo. If I don't, I'm not going to miss it.
Right.
I mean, that sounds like an incredible flex to me, and that you freelance. So, I mean, if you want, there's a horror movie that needs editing, in under a week. I'm just saying.
Hey, saying kind of similar things, because you said starting, so you didn't get yourself to that
right.
Since
you paid attention there.
I've got to leave early. Thank you for having me.
Oh, leaving so soon? Why?
Message received.
Let's talk off. You need help, and I need work. So I'm totally done.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, folks. Because we get the question here a lot, especially when it comes to I get it a lot for writing, but I also get it a lot for Ralph, how do you start your own show? And I'm like, you make the first video, and then they look at me like I'm crazy. And I'm like, no, because until you make that first video, you don't know what you're doing wrong. You don't know what you're doing right. You don't know what's going on. You don't know how do you want to do the show, because until you put it down on paper or on video, you don't know what's going on. And I know that everybody's sitting there going, that's crazy. I'm like, well, that's the point.
So I went to Marymount Manhattan College, which they would never admit to it, but they are basically a theater school. They are that's not how they advertise themselves, but it's a conservatory that also teaches math. That's what they do. And with that, I myself was getting a BFA in acting. A lot of my friends, if they weren't in the BFA program, were at least still pursuing acting of some type. So I ended up finding myself doing more production stuff, because work was hard to find when you're in college, and somebody had to do it, or else we'd all just be talking about what scripts we want to read and monologuing to each other. And so now I find myself in this position where I kind of like doing both sides of the work. And I had my friends tell me that too. And the number one thing I tell people is you gotta suck before you're any good. If you're not willing to suck, then you're not willing to be any good at it.
Exactly.
And it's just that like go out there and really stink up the joint. Like screw up, get yourself like the number of videos I have out there publicly that, you know, I set an ISO wrong on my camera, or, you know, I played a board game that I was trying to review and did the wrong rules and totally misinterpreted it. Like the number of things I've done and screwed up that nobody notices because those things all have 5, 6 views. Like suck while it's still safe to suck. I think like it goes a long way.
You gotta suck sometime. Come on, just suck it now in the beginning.
And, yeah, you got to just hold your nose and suck it. That's all right. I can't swear, but I can say that at least. So there we go.
Because I find that a lot of people are scared to fail, but failure isn't bad. It actually teaches you something.
Yeah, we will not have the light bulb if you're not, you know, Edison. How many times he tried? Yes.
Oh, he was proud of that. I've tried it 1,000 times, and I'm going to try it 1,001.
Well, that is the same thing with us. You know, we don't know who teach you. You know, kind of, and even if they teach you, you just mess up, and if you don't try to, you know, just swallow that frog and go farther.
Yeah,
sure.
Go to any YouTube channel, that you love, you dearly, whoever's at the top of your game, and go to their very first video. Just check out their very first video. If they are not funded by a company from the start, check out their very first video, and I guarantee you've probably made something better than they did.
Oh, I tell people all the time, go check out my first video.
Yeah.
I know exactly what that video is. I know what's going on.
What do you think is the bigger enemy, though? The fear of failure or the fear of not being able to achieve perfection?
Ooh, good question.
I think it's actually the fear of not being able to achieve perfection. I think perfection has very little to do with the creative space, but people as wannabe or aspiring creators want to be perfect, but that perfection is... You can't grasp it. I mean, you look at any, and I'll, because I know movies, you look at any movie today, look at a Christopher Nolan movie, he still makes mistakes.
Yeah.
There's still mistakes in his edits, in his dialogue and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Creativity is not a place for perfection at all.
Yeah. Good point.
But
quite the opposite. It's a messy Pollock-like experience, right? Like creativity sometimes is just throwing junk at the wall.
Yep.
I think it's valid. I think people want, and I fallen victim to this. Even now, I still fall victim to this sometimes. Is that people want to put their best foot forward. I think we hear that a lot in like a corporate world of like doing interviews and stuff. You always want to put your best foot forward. It's always about that first impression. And when it comes to a creativity, it's like I think people are afraid that if they don't have it right, even if not perfect, if like professionally excellent,
right?
If they don't have it right, then they've already lost people. They've lost their chance there. And I think that's that. Yeah, I think it stops a lot of people.
Oh, it definitely stops a lot of people. But the sad thing is this, and it's one of the big things about failing. Sometimes that failure will become a success, and if you didn't do that failure, then you wouldn't have that success. And I always go back to D&D. Everybody's like, "Oh, I want that nat 20. I want that nat 20." But the most fun comes from that epic fail one.
I was about to say the exact same thing. As a big D&D guy myself, like yes, you get the best stories from your nat ones, far better than you ever get from your nat 20s.
And I feel like that teaches you a lesson because I tell people all the time, like when you talk to people, they'll of course they'll remember a couple of the nat 20s that happened, but most of the times they're talking about the epic fail that happened that actually made the story better.
1,000%. Yep. 1,000%.
I think a lot of times with creativity, though, I think a lot of it's trying to find what your process is and how you work within it. Because a lot of people, you could see someone's process and say, okay, that's for me. And it's not necessarily for you. Give you a good example. I remember in art school, we're all about to draw like a model, let's say. and you have that one artist who is meticulously starting with the head and measuring everything, and then you have those that just go in and splash in and they do what they feel, and neither one of them is right. You have to find which process really works for you. Are you the type that just goes in and, like you mentioned, Noah, let me just start it, and then as I go on, it's going to go? Or are you the type that needs to meticulously lay out every plan, every step? Because a lot of times when you start crossing that and you don't give yourself a chance, you really don't know what the true process is, and one that really works with you. So I think a lot of times that's the battle that a creator faces, trying to find that process.
Yeah, I think it's hard because you want to, if you've never done it before, you don't have any process, and so
Right.
even just that act of discovery can feel daunting.
Yeah, good point. Yep,
completely. Yep. I'll tell you, folks. I've done a lot of failing.
Yeah.
And I'll continue to do a lot of failing, and a lot of the times, a lot of it is, like I feel like what Noah you were saying. A lot of it's figuring out the time management, figuring out all the little bits and pieces that go into everything, and you can't figure that out sometimes without realizing that you can't figure that out.
I saw another thing, and like I talked about systems before. I've got I use Notion to track not just like my projects, but just kind of parts of my personal life. Or people who use like Excel to be able to go ahead and do their budgeting and stuff like that, right? There's various things. I saw a thing that really struck home with me is that it is better to reign in chaos. Because what happens is, even when it comes to building the systems, it's like some people get stuck in this sort of analysis paralysis, so to speak.
Yeah.
Where they're sitting there really looking at everything and like, oh my God, all right, let me get my system, even the systems thing. Like, let me get these correct. I'm going to have the perfect folder structure, and I need to get all the right camera equipment, and I need to get all this kind of stuff. But like sometimes you just kind of have to have like the messy piece there, and then start molding that clay. Like have the outline, and then find that, oh wait, this format, this task structure, this inbox isn't working for me. Let me rearrange how all my things are now that I know what is working for me, or at least now that I know what isn't working for you. It's like, again, you just gotta start. The rest of it will fall into place, but you gotta give yourself permission to improv a little.
Completely. And I think what's the funniest thing, because they'll come out and they'll ask me about writing, and then they'll think I'm being an asshole or a gatekeeper when I'll go, just write. And then they go, what are you talking about? Dude, I came for advice. Yeah, write. You got to write.
Yeah.
You got to just write. Yeah. Get it down. Write whatever you need to go to write. Then you're going to figure it out later.
Right.
But also, like, you can't give advice to them if you haven't seen their material, and if they have no material, there's nothing to judge. So immediately, like, you want me to judge what you're doing? Make something. I will look at that thing you've made and then give notes. But right now, the note is make something.
Exactly. And you get that. Somebody will go, "Hey, Ralph, I want to write," and I'm like, "Well, let me see what you have." And they go, "I haven't written anything yet." I'm like, "Okay."
All right. You don't want to write that badly, do you?
But I don't know what I want to write, Ralph. I don't think I have anything to write. Dude, life is full of things to write about.
Yeah, right.
But a lot of things is just good, mindset. If you just decided to do, just get over, your limitation, because the limitation are our mind. It is nothing else.
Yes, exactly.
And you create yourself, even if it's nothing there. It is just your mind.
Also, therapy helps. Like, do therapy. Like, that Lord knows it saved me all sorts of trouble.
And folks, if you are looking for therapy, writing is therapy. D&D is therapy.
Right.
Very much so.
Making movies is therapy.
Exactly.
Right.
The
art, being creative.
Exactly.
Because it's one of the places, dude. As a DM, it's always funny to me to watch somebody create a character. And then I'm playing somebody totally different than myself, and I'm like, sure.
Sure you are.
Explore yourself. Oh my God, it's the best. It's the best part when people. I myself am a forever DM as well. I find myself in that a lot, and like most of my friends had not played before, and there's two big moments with new players you always discover, which is the moment they realize they could ask to do anything.
Yep.
And realize that they are like, there's a lot more possibility as long as they can justify it. But also when they finally make that first character that isn't just themselves with an axe, right? Like when they really like, I'm going to be a surfer dwarf from the outer plains. It's like, great, go nuts, let's get crazy. I will still make you cry halfway through this campaign, but have fun.
Even then, you'll sit there and they'll go through the storyline, and I'm like, I know what this storyline is. Yeah. I'm your friend, and I know exactly what you're working out.
There are two milestones with new players. They make a character that's either just like them or what they aspire to be, and then the second milestone is when they throw their longsword. Yeah. And you just shake your head behind the DM screen.
So I don't know if you guys see. That was my character. Oh, you cannot see, and I cannot.
There we
go.
That was my character.
Wow.
That.
Yeah.
Yes.
Love it.
You with an axe. There you go.
And that was my first character. So there you go.
That's awesome.
But that first character inspired a line of novels that we're looking to write.
Wow.
Yeah, actually, you did something for you, but I don't. Yeah, I don't really remember anymore. But
was that character named Sophie?
I have no idea. It was
Sophia Chantel.
Oh yeah.
Get them all in there. Get them all involved.
Right.
Very rude.
I think I need a monster stat block for the Umblech now.
Yeah.
No, I think we're going to end up doing that because our previous monster, the La Lunga, also, could have a stat block and could be used, and same with the Umblech for sure.
That's
so
great.
I think I'm going to provide that. I'm going to add some perks to the Indiegogo one, like fun ones, and I think that might be one of them.
Okay, I'm happy you said that, Rob, because Mata Sorcier was like, tell Rob he needs more stuff on that Indiegogo. It was more art, just more pieces in there.
Oh my. So this means I have to draw something.
Yes. Now the deadline is on you.
There you go. Yeah.
There you go.
I gotta say,
finally, the tables have turned.
Exactly. I gotta say, folks, it's important to make sure that people want to be at your Kickstarter. They want to go there. They want to like support it. So sometimes what you need to do is just have fun and put stuff into it. As Rob was saying, he's been busy making the movie, so he's kind of neglected it over here. But he already has a video, which is one of the big important things.
Sure.
And I feel the video is pretty good because it explains a lot, and you have a lot of the people from the movie in the video, right?
Yep, very lucky that we did like a rehearsal. So I got some B-roll of everybody during the rehearsals and everything, and talking about the Indiegogo and everything. So again, cast and crew has been, could not have done it without them, really.
One of the locations look very familiar, the one with the tunnel. Are you filming within like the Bronx area or Westchester area, or?
So I grew up in Cedar Grove, New Jersey.
Okay.
The fictional town is called The Grove.
Right.
And even growing up in Cedar Grove, there's like a lot of weird New Jersey stuff around where I grew up. A block away from my parents' house that I grew up in was the insane asylum.
Wow.
Down the street was Devil's Hole, and a whole bunch of other things. So I've twisted them into my own design for The Grove. So all locally around the New Jersey area, I'll say.
Yeah, it works well, especially when in the scene where you're going through the tunnel and it's coming out, and then you see like the leaves and everything that's going up there. It really works well. Yeah.
Thank you.
I need to ask something for the New York natives here. I grew up in California, so I only moved out here around 18 or so. Why does it seem like the East Coast is haunted? Always. There's always, you don't see spooky shit happening like Calabasas, right? Like why?
Because it always because it is. No,
it's just like everything. It's always like Hell's Grove and Dead Man's Point. Like
sun, I think has to be sun.
It has
Yeah, there you
It's
go.
not enough.
Not
like
enough
El
sun, right?
Sobrante. It doesn't feel nearly as haunted.
It's also Stephen King, because he keeps talking about us. He was like, "Oh, I was in Maine, and all this stuff happened in Maine. I was in." I'm like, dude, man.
Man needed to take one vacation. It would have been nicer for everybody.
No, it's right. Amityville horror.
Yeah.
Sleepy
It's
Hollow.
all out here.
Yeah, it's definitely like the dense population. So you
Mhm.
have like more abandoned hospitals,
Mhm.
mental hospitals,
Good point.
neglected structures and stuff. You have, even the Pine Barrens within New Jersey. You
Jersey
just have a lot. And I have
Justice
to
in
say,
the
I agree with
air.
Eva.
We
It
have
is
it
the
in the
sun.
air.
Yes.
We have way more moody atmospheric weather.
True.
Yeah,
I'll
great.
never forget growing up in Cedar Grove. There'd be times when you would see people driving their cars, riding their bikes, and every so often, like a Saturday afternoon, there would be nobody around, and it was super haunting. I'll never forget that feeling.
Yeah.
Like you go out to ride your bike and you can't find any of your friends. There are no cars on the street, and it is eerily quiet. And you're like, I'm gonna die now. This is it. I'm in a horror movie, and I didn't write it or direct it, unfortunately.
Jeez.
That's a
But you
good
have
point.
it more situation like that. You see the people escaping from the asylum, so it's something in it.
Correct.
I was, a nerd as a kid, so I was in the rocket club, and we would launch our rockets in the field of the insane asylum. Every so often, we'd be launching our rockets, and we would hear, boop, 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 and you would look across, and there would be a guy running with a straitjacket trying to make it to the woods,
my
and
Oh my God.
nurses and whoever else running after him. And sometimes they didn't catch him, and those woods back there. There's some stories.
So there you go. You have the.
There you go. You can have a story right there. Yeah.
Why did I move to the side of the country? Jesus.
And then, it's funny because we're here in New York, and people go, "Oh, we're in New York." I'm like, "Yeah, but dude, there's enough ghost stories in New York as it."
Yeah, that's why you stay in the city. I could not go upstate. That's frightening.
Tate's here saying that in school sometimes I would write about not knowing what to write. That was a hit or miss with the teachers, but that's actually what you do. If you don't feel like you know what you're gonna write, just write about that. Because I don't feel like I know what I want to write right now. And next thing you know, you're writing something. And I feel like that's the best example of what I'm saying is people, I think when they think they're writing or when they're creating whatever, they think that they have to have a goal, they have to have an end point, they have to. That's all important, but if you don't have anything at that moment, it's time to do something.
Yeah. Sure. You can always create for yourself. Sometimes you don't need to. I mean, and this is me not taking my own advice. Sometimes you don't need to try to monetize or get attention from your work. Sometimes you can just create for yourself as an exercise or as a therapeutic release, or even for poops and giggles. Like it is just, you can just go for it. It goes a long way, and it's a muscle like anything else. As someone who doesn't work out my physical muscles, it's a great muscle to work out.
Yep, it completely is, and then I do it all the time. People constantly telling me, "Oh, Ralph, if you do this and this and this, you'll be able to do better videos, and you get more money, you get more monetized." I'm like, dude, if I follow your advice, I'll end up covering one thing.
Yeah.
I can't handle that.
Yeah,
I need to cover a plethora of things. So
there is I mean, again, having worked on the WWE side on the very corporate level of digital media, I always kind of believed in this sort of there's this triple circle Venn diagram of what the audience wants, what'll make you money, and what you want. And your perfect spot is really in the middle there, somewhere in between. Because if you're only doing the first two, then you're gonna get burnt out fast.
Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely, because if you're doing anything for money, it becomes a job, and once it becomes a job, it's a chore.
Yeah, like New York Comic Con.
Yeah. Dude, I was supposed to. Here's a perfect example. I was supposed to meet up with Eddie at New York Comic Con. Yeah. My phone was not working. I was getting my messages hours later after I left the convention.
Yeah.
I had like 5 people I was supposed to meet up this week, and I think I met up with 1.
Oh no.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
The good thing is that everybody else was at their tables and booths, so that was the easy part.
You could find them. Yeah.
Oh man, it was interesting, and I feel like it gets worse every year. Every year that I go to New York Comic Con, I feel like they're like, we're gonna block your phone. That way you have to buy our special Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I feel like it gets worse every year, and I keep thinking it's going to be more fun every year. And it's a really bad relationship, is what it is. No,
it's sad because it's a fun con, but oh my god,
it can be.
Yeah,
you want
folks.
fun? You want fun cons? Go to Anatomo. Go to Kaiju Brooklyn. Go to what I've discovered, and it's been great. I had a great conversation with Rosa from Tokyo Bronx. Wonderful person, wonderful organization. There are just so many of these smaller cons popping up around New York City, and the atmosphere and the environment and the love and the excitement is so different, and I find it easier. As someone who tries to cover these things, I have a much easier time going to those and interacting with people and having a really unique time. Whereas I go to New York Comic Con, it's just an overabundance of stuff. You don't know where to go, and the best I end up doing is like going table to table, being like, "What are you doing here?"
Exactly.
But like these smaller cons have more room to do more interesting things, and it's great. It's like all the cons I just mentioned, they're in their second, third year.
Exactly.
Like it's just a recent influx of new ways to celebrate nerd culture that I'm personally gotten very excited about.
Dude, I was so happy about Kaiju Brooklyn. For the first one I went to, it was amazing. I told him right away, you need to do the second one. And then the second one was incredible and even bigger. And I was like, make sure you do the third one.
And third one coming on up.
Yes,
I mean,
I have that.
I'm stoked for it. It's not even my thing. I'm trying to. I've talked to John. I'm trying to wish into existence me being able to host a panel or something. So hopefully this pressures him if he sees this into getting me to do something. But what does it say? May 31st to June 1st. If last year was any consolation, this one is only going to be bigger and even more fun. It's an absolute blast of a show. Oh,
sorry about that.
Eddie, you're okay?
I was trying to reach for this. There you go. I was trying to reach for this at all my Comic-Con stuff. So excellent.
That was good sound.
Yes,
perfect.
That was like a symbol.
Yeah, is how exciting that show is because
this is the sound of drawing, and right now you have elbows like.
Yeah,
that's it.
I heard a couple crashes. I expected to hear a cat scream somewhere in the background after that.
You didn't know Rob does sound effects on this show, huh? You didn't know that.
Yeah, we should use it.
Welcome to the morning zoo.
Exactly. Right now we're gonna hear the giraffe. How did the giraffe go? I don't know.
But no, I wanted to ask you, what's the most epic kaiju battle you ever witnessed?
That's a good question.
I'm talking epic, like you couldn't believe it. Your mouth dropped.
I mean, if the corporate answer is every show we have a kaiju big battle is an absolute epic majesty of proportion, absolute wonderful kaiju chaos to be expected. But I'd say the most
memorable one. How about that?
The most memorable one. I'm trying to. We've had a couple really good ones recently. I'm not going to say it's the. I was going to say the most memorable because it's what's popping into my mind. I got two actually. One is when we crucified Santa, but the other one,
yes, that's memorable.
That was actually both of these are from our. In the summer, we do a Halloween beach party show, which is kind of like a tree house of horror. It's non-canon, so anything could happen there. One was Santa coming in and saying it wasn't time for Halloween, so really healing it up, and we ended up crucifying him. And the other one was when, because it was a horror thing, we were able to kind of kill off our creatures, even though it's non-canon, so it's fine.
Right.
And the evil maniacal villain of Kaiju Big Battle, Dr. Cube, took all the body parts of the old monsters and made monstrous amalgamations. So you'd have the arm of one, the head of another, the body of a third, and the two of them went to fight off against each other. and that was pretty great. If you want like a little more on the athletic side, I'd say one of the best ones would be the closing Phyto of our recent Japan show, which was the Dr. Cube and his number 2 henchman Hell Monkey, a giant drunk red one-eyed ape, taking on the seminal kaiju hero Unicorn Party and his mystery opponent and his mystery partner, the Japanese comedy wrestling legend Lingerie Muto. A take on the Great Muda, but he wears lingerie and is very ridiculous. It was for the title, in which Unicorn Party ended up winning the title and finding the legendary 2-piece on the Grand Line for to save the day and close the show. And not only was it just wild in concept, it was wild in athleticism as well.
That sounds wild.
It is. And I'll say right now, for those of you who are into it, if you think this is something, you ain't seen nothing. We've got a show happening November 2nd in Pittsburgh. We got another one happening December 8th at the Bell House in Brooklyn. And that's going to close out our 30th anniversary series before we get into the new year, where there can only be more chaos.
Excellent.
It's almost like they pay me to do this.
Thanks, Noah. Excellent.
Of course.
That does sound like a lot of fun and a mouthful.
It is. I'm literally on the mic the entire time, yelling and screaming and shouting. By the end of it, I sound like Macy Gray. It's a lot.
That's the fun part, the announcers. It's the same thing with wrestling. It's the announcers on the side that you're like enjoying.
Oh yeah. No, it's here we get really philosophical with you. I've been a strong believer that pro wrestling is far more akin to musical theater or theater in general than it ever was or could be to sports. And the biggest case in point is that the announcers, the commentators, are the Greek chorus of pro wrestling. It is their job to inform the audience on how they should feel, much like theater from ancient study of the game, theater of ancient Greece back in the day, when the Greek chorus was used to give the inner thoughts and the context behind the actions of the characters in Greek tragedy. It all ties in together.
That was beautiful.
I try.
I like when it all wraps up in that direction, because people start to go, come on, this is this and this is that. Everything has a reason. Everything has a beginning. Eddie was talking about the Warriors. And the Warriors is actually based on, if I'm right, it's a Roman story where the guys get stuck behind enemy lines and they're trying to make their way home, which is a classic story. Right. And then you say that to somebody and they go, what? The Warriors? Yeah. That's what that story is.
Right.
And the Warriors isn't that bad, folks. Come on, jeez.
Dude, it's great. It's one of the video games in the World's Greatest Gamer tournament that I run for PS2.
Is that the Xbox one?
I mean, it's the same one because it was released for both Xbox and PS2, I think.
Well, so that was a beautiful game. That actually made the movie come alive.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because that came out like early 2000s, but it absolutely revitalized that.
Exactly.
We don't talk about him.
Playing that. Running around the city, just causing chaos.
So good.
So Eddie, now that we give you a good segue there, and it's already 1:15, so we got to start wrapping things up.
Sure.
Everybody, tell the good people where they can find your stuff.
Yeah, so the Kickstarter's live. Like I said, today was the first day. Really great, exciting day, and what a day to really launch this thing. And so appreciate if everyone were to go to the Kickstarter. You can see the rewards that are there and see if there's something that you like. Now, at the very least, download the downloadable PDF, because you really enjoy the story when it does come out. And I have my other social medias, whether it's ZNK238, that's where you see my graffiti work on Instagram, or you could go to the End of Zed either website or End of Zed Instagram. Oh, there you go, 485. Excellent.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I appreciate that.
I love when it goes up live on camera.
Sure, sure, excellent.
There
So
you
yeah,
have
no, I'm sorry. Oh yeah, so I appreciate this. It's been a long road to get to this point, and I know from again learning and getting school from the other people that are doing it that this is just the beginning, right? So it'll have. I've told Kickstarter starts off high and then it has this low and then it goes back
Yeah.
up again, and so yeah, so we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. But I'm very excited. It's a great story. I really think it's something you haven't really seen before in the indie comic space. And yes, Wild Robot meets the Warriors. There you go. So keep that in mind.
And folks, it's excellent. I've seen little bits and pieces of this. You guys are going to want to check it out. Just that video alone should have you checking this thing out.
Sure. I just need an editor for the next one, so I don't know where to find one. You know.
You need a comic
There you go.
oh, you do the video. Okay, the video.
One more project. What more can we do? Let's go for it. Come on, pile it on. Pile it on, baby. Ooh, weigh me down. Let's go.
All right, Rob Longo, do it.
All right, Rob Longo, Ghosts in the Grove Part 2, The Umbletch on Indiegogo right now. Looking for your support and contributions. A perk. Anything will help us finish this movie. Get us to that finish line, please. The crew deserves it more than anything. You can find us on Indiegogo, on Facebook, on Instagram, 2121productions.com, and thegroveverse.com.
Go ahead, folks. Go support this. You know, you guys ever wanted to support a movie? Here's your chance to do that.
And it's our second one. We're making one every year, maybe even 2 a year. We're making a snowboarding one. We're making a horror movie coming up next year about it's called Entanglement, and it's a time and dimension versus another time and dimension in the same location.
Excellent.
See, folks, lots of stuff to look forward to.
Sure thing.
Yeah, come on, go with the support. Do it. Do your thing, folks.
And as Noah said, it's going to be filmed on the East Coast. Something like
Yes,
this wouldn't work on the West Coast.
the scariest coast, to be honest.
Yes.
The scary coast. All right, go ahead. Sure.
Yeah.
Noah, tell the people who you are. Tell them where they can find you. Go
Well, here we go. If you haven't gotten sick of me enjoying the sound of my own voice yet, then you can go ahead and find me on YouTube at the Kaiju Lounge. It's where most of my video stuff is done right there. I release the Best Game of All Time podcast on the first Monday of the month, typically. Sometimes we're behind. I do the World's Greatest Gamer live from OS NYC, where you can sign up and play in person if you're in the New York area. Otherwise, you can watch it streamed live on YouTube and Twitch the second Friday of the month. God, what else? I got so much going on right now. Kaiju Big Battle, as I just mentioned, you can find them at Kaiju Big Battle on all socials. November 2nd, we're going to be in Pittsburgh. December 8th, we're back in New York. The tickets for December 8th just went on sale yesterday, and the Bell House shows sell out fast. So if anything I've described or anything you can see, people wrestling in giant rubber monster outfits amongst buildings, if that does not pique your interest, then I don't know what's wrong with you. You should go ahead and check out Kaiju Big Battle. Buy your tickets right now. Otherwise, you can follow me at Boss Monster Kaiju everywhere but Twitter, because Elon Musk is an asshat where it's Boss Monster Kaiju, A, not ER. I post, really, it's all self-promotional. So if you're not following me anywhere else, at least follow me there so you know what I'm up to at any given time. And I'm the only person on here without a Kickstarter or an Indiegogo. That may change soon. Stay tuned.
Ooh, I hear mechanisms clicking, stuff happening.
Oh, that's the pen. I can't help myself.
Well, the pen has to click for the project to start.
That's right. You can't write if the ink's not out. That's
exactly. Folks, go check these people out. And as usual, what I usually tell you at this moment is, you know, somebody's out there going, Ralph, I'm lazy. I don't want to go look for the link. Well, no, you don't have to go look for the link. I put them all in the comment section right there in front of you. All you have to do is click all those buttons, and it gets you there right away. So I don't have to hear, I'm lazy, Ralph. I don't want to go find it. It's right there.
Easy to find.
Exactly.
And write something, God damn it.
Yes.
I cannot make it any easier, folks. So go over there. Go. And of course, my thing here is I'm lazy, and well, I'm not lazy. I just don't think that publishing is the way for me to go, because that means I have to stop writing in order to publish. But these guys at We Suck at Comics have made that so much easier for me because they've published my first story, and it's going to come out in We Suck at Comics, the second volume. And right now they are signing up to get notified. So go sign up to get notified. And like we tell you folks here all the time, when you sign up to get notified, it's free. And it also helps the project out because the more people they have following the project, the better place they start in the algorithm when it starts. So there you go. They're at 75 followers right now. Go help them out. And if you ever wanted to get a written Writ Ralph piece, here's your chance. So go follow.
Oh yeah,
Will do.
I think that's everything. Have we have any final words, folks?
Write something, anything, just do it.
Yeah, get out there, folks. Create something.
Create
Make a
something,
movie. Dude,
Yeah.
I know some of you are like, I don't have a camera. This is a studio. You know, we gotten to the point now where your phone has become a studio. You can make a whole movie with this.
The only
you're gonna start a podcast with this.
Yeah.
You can always find the excuse, you know, it's always there.
That's it. That's true. My final word is what was the girl's name? Clarissa. We'll find out.
Sophia.
Sophia, that's it.
I don't know where Clarissa
There
came
you go.
from.
I don't
You
know.
have to look right now for Clarissa.
Oh, there you go.
Right.
Exactly.
Well, now we're just adding other characters to this.
Right. That's the 6th movie in the series.
Exactly.
All right, folks. What I'm going to do for you guys is we usually end the show by me saying something, but I'm going to show this off because it's beautiful.
Where am I?
Party people, are we ready? 3, 2, 1.
All right, folks. You guys are coming in right now. Go watch the rewatch.